we shall see. Your opening question is, what's been your most embarrassing moment on stage?
Whew.
Yeah. Well, saying that actually from your history of playing, it could be your most embarrassing moment drumming anywhere.
Yeah, I mean, falling off stage is never really cool, but I try to act as normal about everything going on a stage, no matter what's going on. So I kind of have a rule for myself that nothing that happens on a stage will ever surprise me, because I've been in so many different situations and so many different stages, playing for lots of different stuff. But I mean, when I played for Ishan, the Norwegian black metal legend, in 2013, and I was responsible for sending tracks and clicks to everyone. And as I said to you earlier, when I tried to log into Zoom here, I don't know anything about technical stuff, so I have no idea why I had the mission to send all the tracks and stuff to the rest of the band. But I ended up sending the click out of the PA for a full song, and we didn't have our own sound engineer. This was in Tokyo, Japan, so it was my first time. Was it my first time in Japan? Yeah, it was. And I just heard it at the end of the song, like tick, took, took, took. I think I played some mistakes as well, so I was taking the whole band to another part of the song. So the tracks was, that was pretty embarrassing. And when I was about 22 years old, so I was pretty starstruck by playing with Ishan from Emperor, and I just feel I fucked up the whole tour.
Oh no!
So that was pretty intense. And I also. On Thursday, I was actually playing like an after party set in western Norway on a festival called Malakoff Festival, and the audience was so drunk. I didn't drink anything at all, and I was walking into the crowd to try to hype them a little bit, and I was standing on the fences. And some of the guys was, I'm holding you, and I was standing there trying to and then I realized, I'm gonna lose balance, and then I kind of fell off, but it wasn't a very ugly fall, but it was a little bit embarrassing. But then again, everybody was drunk, so. And I also broke my drum throne or chair, at a corporate event sometime, and I fall off the riser. That's pretty, that's
not a good list. This is a good list of. I was just expecting. I wasn't sure. Yeah, that's What was the conversation like after? I'm assuming there was some sort of conversation after the click incident. How did that go? Because I remember hearing I think it was Mark from Periphery saying about how like they messed something up on a tour with Dream Theater, and apparently John Petrucci came back and was like, "You need to sort that shit out." Like,
whoa,
that's what I remember hearing. I hope that's not wrong.
Yeah, it might be true. I also managed to step on some cables while Devin Townsend was playing in Dortmund. We were support. This was back in the days, 5-6 years ago, and then the show stopped for 30 or 40 minutes because the whole system or something. I managed to have my clumsy feet upon some cables I shouldn't, and. But they, I mean, the band from Devin Townsend, they were way too kind. There was like, we don't know for sure if it was you, But Devin is a super good entertainer though. But I think it was a tough night for him. So I'm pretty clumsy.
Yeah, Devin's great. I love watching him. You guys supported him at the Albert Hall here in the UK, right? That was one of the shows. Is that right?
That was now recently, but the situation I spoke about was from a 7 weeks tour back in January, February, March 2017. Yeah. So that's a while ago.
Yeah. That's awesome. I think one of the things I wanted to sort of ask about is having sort of been playing for so long, and obviously, and actually, when I type your name in, videos come up from like over 10 years ago from you playing, and like I'm not just saying 10 years ago like learning, it's like 10 years ago playing at a good level.
Thank you.
How do you? Huh?
Thank you.
Oh no, it's all right. It's easy enough. My question was kind of how do you stay not only creative, but like how do you stay motivated? Because obviously the more you play, it's one of those things where they say like the more you know, the more aware you are of how little you know. You know, there's that whole thing. But at the same time, how do you stay like? How do you keep it fresh? And just, I don't just mean in your style of playing, but I mean just personally, how do you like keep yourself moving forward with that?
Yeah, I think for me it's important to have a lot of different things to do musically, and kind of getting home from a Leprous tour, it doesn't mean I won't touch a drum kit for weeks. I have this project going on with my good friend DJ Boge from Kickslip, and we do a lot of cool stuff. And I also play with my other band, Rendezvous Point. So it's about having some variation somehow. But then again, I'm not that kind of drummer anymore that plays with everyone and all kinds of styles and everything. It's been more and more Leprous focused, touring with this band, having a full scheduled. Just alone with just the amount of Leprous shows we do a year, it's more than enough, really. But it's all about trying to be a student your whole life and try to pick up inspiration from everything. And if it's YouTube or if it's just something that pops up in your playlist on Spotify, or just trying to stay motivated. And I mean, watching Rammstein yesterday was probably my biggest concert experience ever, and I still haven't consumed everything I saw and heard, and it's amazing to see how incredible all kind of aspects of a show can be, and kind of almost make you consider quit. I mean, not really, but still, can it be any better? And it was actually Norway's biggest crowd ever for a concert with paid tickets. So pretty proud of being a part of the metal scene when it's a metal band taking those records.
Yeah.
No, I mean taking those.
I know. Yeah. Sort of getting that. Yeah. That's awesome. Do you get a bit of kind of like concert envy when you see Rammstein doing all these like fire, and they got like a whole tower behind them and everything? How do you then, you get up on stage and you're like, where's my tower? Like,
I mean, it was just a whole package. I mean, I've seen a lot of pyrotechnics before, of course, but the way they put it into setting and they have it in time with the music, and that's pretty. I don't even know where to start. People just need to catch a Rammstein show, whether you like metal or not. It's like, if you're a little bit into, what can I say, art on stage, whether it's theater or music or whatever, you cannot miss a show like this. It's like, you have to see it before you die, or before they die. They are 60 years old already. So,
are they?
Yeah, almost. Yeah, crazy. They're on the same age as my parents.
Wow.
Born in the early 60s.
I thought they were. That's crazy. It's crazy they're still doing what they do. Maybe you should bring your artwork to a Leprous show.
This is a little bit. Maybe it's some sneaky promotion for Rammstein. Maybe they want to buy some of my art to have on stage. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, their stage is so big, you might not even see it. Like, it might just be. Yeah, for anyone listening, they have no idea what we're talking about. They're on my bucket list. They're very high up my list of.
You haven't seen them?
Huh?
You haven't seen them yet?
No, they play. They annoyingly, because they play such massive places. They're actually like. There's nowhere in. I live in Birmingham, which is the second biggest city in the UK. And actually, there's not a single place they can play in Birmingham. There's actually Milton Keynes, which is like about an hour from where I live.
Yeah.
It's the nearest they play. Oh, it might be Coventry, actually, which is about 45 minutes. But yeah, because they play to like, what's it, like 10,000+, 20,000? I don't know how many people they play to.
They had 60,000 yesterday, and that was probably the smallest show of their whole arena tour. So
okay, well, I've obviously underestimated massively. Yeah, that's crazy. I don't know. But yeah, I think the playing, going back to kind of playing, what I was saying about playing for such a long time. I'm guessing, because my next question was kind of be like, what's the last thing that sort of inspired you? But I'm going to guess Rammstein and pyrotechnics. Is it?
Yeah, kind of right now for sure. For sure. And I was lucky enough to see Meshuggah 2 days ago in Romania. We played a festival in Romania. I've seen Meshuggah many times though, so the bar kind of goes higher and higher. But yeah, it's also very, very impressive how they just go on with what they do. Nothing more, nothing less. It's like just a machine of sound put into a system. And yeah, hats off.
Yeah, that light show they have with like the way it's like every kick is just with the lights going everywhere. It's crazy watching.
Yeah.
So, go on.
No, nothing important.
No, that's everything I say. So it's like with Meshuggah, if you're watching someone like Thomas Harker and and any drummer, like I mean, I was watching I was listening to Car Bomb the other day. And their drummer is just crazy in terms, just so coordinated and so like it's like they say almost like a machine. Do you even when you're at a high level of playing, do you still see other drummers and kind of what's the word? Do you ever get that kind of sense of I wish I was that drummer or I wish I was this?
Yeah. Obviously, it's and that's what's so fantastic about music. Anyways, I can spend 30 years on particular stuff behind the drum kit, but you're still not even close to kind of reach artistic level on all kinds of aspects, even within music or just how to use the instrument and anything. So that's what I think is important, no matter what kind of drummer you are or musician, to just stay open-minded and. Yeah, people are so good. There are so many incredible drummers and musicians everywhere. Sadly, it's many aspects that makes a band or an artist make it or not. It can be luck, it can be timing. For right now, this is trendy, and yeah, it's many variations. So my point is, the best and most emotional drummer on earth, probably nobody has never heard of him because he's probably playing on a local cafe somewhere, and yeah, you don't know. So I remember walking around in New York once and just going into different jazz clubs and stuff. It's like crazy to see how high the level of musicianship is, and yeah, so it's not only the artist being on the big stages that has the, what can I say, highest level of artistic intelligence or level or whatever. It's yeah, the best drummer is probably sitting somewhere that nobody knows and playing for himself. Who knows?
Yeah. It sounds like you have quite a positive kind of spin on it, because I think a lot of people. I
just drank coffee, so that's why.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm on coffee number 3 today, so that's it's keeping me going just about. But yeah, what out of interest? Are you like a coffee snob? How?
No, I only do it for the drug, of it, for the coffee. And same with alcohol. I drink to get drunk. I drink coffee to get high, and yeah.
Oh no, I love a good it's dangerous for me because like I like with like beer and like I like gin as well. I kind of just like the drink, so I don't always just drink to get drunk. I drink just because I enjoy it. Well, that's kind of dangerous because you can end of the evening you're like, oh, I'll have 2. Like you could do that like every day if you're not careful.
Yeah, absolutely. I've never been a big drinker, luckily, but during the COVID times where it was suddenly nothing going on when it comes to shows and everything, I going from a life where you kind of get that adrenaline on stage many times during a year to just nothing is happening. You're just home with your paintings, and what can you do? I have a very short attention span, so I'm almost never alone for a whole day. I'm a very social person. Stuff is happening all the time. So when the world suddenly shut down, it was like, okay, I'm actually home, and I can meet my friends. Of course, it was variation in terms of the pandemic where we were, then alcohol and stuff, like, what can I say, the cheap adrenaline, the cheap dopamine effect in your head is kind of more and more accessible. So watch out, kids.
if you don't want to take advice from the man with the penis painting behind him, that's he's got it all together. Yeah, it's I found it very easy I found with the pandemic, because there's no structure to, like, it's so easy to lose like a sense of structure in your day. Then you might get to the evening and think, oh, I'll have a drink because I don't need to get up tomorrow morning, you know.
Exactly, and I've never had any, what can I say, I've never had 2 weeks in my life that has been similar, because it's so much based on traveling, going there, studio session there. So somehow it was nice to finally not live in a piece of suitcase for a couple of weeks. And as you say, oh, I don't need to do that tomorrow, so I'll do that. Because you miss out a lot when you... For instance, from June until the end of October, I don't have one single Saturday home, for instance. And I like a lot to be with friends and family and stuff like that. But I don't really owe my own schedule. I have to work around it all the time. And of course, I'm super grateful for that, because that's been the life I've been aiming for since I was super young. Wanting to make a living out of music, and so but then again, it's like you cannot have it all. So but that makes you kind of appreciate more and more the small things in life, kind of when you suddenly have time to hang out with friends and stuff like that. So yeah, cannot complain.
No, would you say
but I still do.
Can't go. I was saying to who was, I can't remember who I was saying this to. Can't complain is like the most English way of like finishing a sentence. It's it's the most British like way of just like, you could say the worst thing ever and go, oh, I can't complain.
I'll take that as a huge compliment, because my friends always make a lot of fun of me because I have such a Norwegian English dialect.
Such a what, sorry?
My friends make a lot of fun of me because I have such a bad English, a very Norwegian English.
I think your English is really good.
Thank you so much. It's keep it going. But it's a lot of people, especially in the UK and from US, they think I'm Irish, that I have a little bit Irish accent sometimes. So I don't know what that. Did you ever notice that it sounds like?
Not even okay. Irish. I can't hear that at all. I have you ever? This is a bit of a tangent. Have you ever watched The Boys, the Amazon show, The Boys?
The Boys or The Voice?
The Boys. B-O-Y.
The Boys. No.
Because there's it's awesome. You need to watch it. But there's one of the main characters. I don't actually know if I think he's meant to be British, but they get accents so wrong that like he sounds like Australian.
Okay.
So yeah, you've got to watch. It's such a good. I don't know how much TV you watch, but it's about like superheroes, but they're all like awful people.
Okay.
Like, definitely like 18 plus rated kind of thing. Yeah. But it's add that to your list when you. Or maybe when you get a Saturday in November or something.
Yeah. The Boys, it's a promising title.
Yeah. It's so like the boys are like the ones fighting the superheroes. Yeah. Do you think you're like? Would you say you're an extroverted person? Do you kind of
absolutely
off of other people?
Yeah. I as I usually say, I've actually never in my life had a headache. I've never in my life had a headache, for instance, and I'm usually never sick, like the flu and stuff. I've never had. I had corona once though, but I didn't feel it really much. But yeah, about the headache, I usually say, and other people say that's because you cause other people so much headache, so you will never get a headache yourself, something like that. So. Yeah, I'm very extroverted and very hyperactive for sure. Everybody tells me that I have the what's it called in English? ADHD. Yeah. But my mother, she says, no, you don't have that. You don't have it. Da, 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 da. And I was never ever checked. How do you say it? Was never ever checked for it when I was younger. But yeah.
Yeah,
most of my friends say if you don't have it, then it doesn't exist. The whole diagnosis. Yeah.
So you're like at the extreme end of the
I'll take that.
Where do you think that kind of? What's the word? Kind of extroversion and that kind of like energetic, hyperactive, where does that come from? Does it tie into your musical life at all?
Yeah, I mean, my way of playing as well, I would say, and it goes in general for all musicians, that you can always tell something about someone's personality based on their way of expressing themselves through their instrument. I'm not the very typical 6/8 blues drummer. Then I really need to focus to hold back. So for sure, and I'm very comfortable of playing in a band where I can kind of take my space on stage and take my space through my instrument on records and everything, and doesn't need to hold. It's kind of a part of the sound to speak a brutal language, kind of, or to express yourself with energy and explosiveness somehow. So that goes for me personally as well. I'm extremely extroverted. My mother is extremely introverted, and my father is very extroverted. So I guess I took it from my father. They are like the two most different people in the world.
They say opposites attract. So
yeah, I don't know how much choice they had when they grew up in the countryside of where we're from. They met each other way too early, I guess. But can't complain. Here I am. I would probably not be here if they didn't meet. So again, can't complain. Exactly. I'm so British.
Yeah. You're fitting in perfectly. Yeah. I'll see if I can think of another like really British phrase for you by the end of the podcast. I'll see if I can think of something.
Yeah.
Expand your vocabulary in that.
Yes, please. So that's pretty British to say yes, please, isn't it?
It's very yes, yeah, but the main thing in England is you have to apologize for everything, even if it's someone else's fault.
Okay,
so if someone, say you're walking towards someone and you bump into them, you have to go, oh sorry, and you have to say sorry at least like three times probably. Like you could probably.
That's so fake though.
It's really odd. It's just like a habit. I don't understand it. So like another thing is, normally when you greet someone, you say hello or whatever. There's kind of two things. It's like I'll say hello and you'll say hi, and then I'll say how are you, and you say good. And if you say anything other than good, then like this conversation has gone wrong. Like if you don't say, even on the or can't complain, you can say can't complain. You can either say good or can't complain, because it's like how are you and I'm good is like an extension of hello. It's just hello part 2.
Oh yeah.
Like if you actually answer how are you, someone will go, oh well, I can't believe he's telling me how he is.
That's the biggest transition for every time we go over to the US for a couple of weeks, that you need to get used to people saying how are you, bro, how are you, and that they don't give a shit when they say it. So you just have to I'm fine, how are you? Just have to say that super quickly, and because people don't care.
No.
If we ask about that in Norway, like how are you these days or something like that, then you actually care. But that's probably why we never ask each other about it. So.
So you don't care, you just don't ask the question.
Yeah. Yeah.
That works. At least it's honest,
Yeah.
I've definitely had conversations where it's gone, hi, how are you? And they go, oh good, how are you? And you go, oh, I'm good, how are you? And it just cycles, and that's it.
Terrible.
Yeah. At least I suppose British people could be more upfront with their. Yeah. What's your experience of sort of the British people when you have been over here?
Oh, I love different.
You don't have to lie.
I was actually asked in another podcast from what is it called again? Oh, that's a shame. Super cool. The night of I'm so bad with names. I'm ashamed. I hope he doesn't hear me now, because he's a super cool dude, and I met him many times. But he said he opened up the whole podcast with, "Are Americans as obnoxious and arrogant as you thought they were?" And then I just had to be honest and say worse. They're worse. But then we were super tired after like a 6 weeks tour in the US there. So and just being on the road for 6 weeks, you can be super tired, and then you tend to kind of hate everything. So it was easy to smash that one back. but no, British people. I mean, I have some British genes. My grandmother is from the UK, and my father is half English. So
where in the UK?
Isn't it the Newcastle area or something? I don't really know. This is a shame. My aunt is visiting my grandmother's brother now. My grandmother passed away 15 years ago, though. But that's a shame. I don't know where she is. She's from the UK for sure, and not Scotland. It's in England.
Not Ireland.
No, not Ireland either.
See, that could have been a good excuse for for the accent.
Yeah. But I feel like British people are very, very friendly. I mean, if I walk around and is lost in London, or it's often that people come and, hey, do you need any help or something? So, so I have a good experiences by traveling in the UK. But when it comes to your internet connection, your power way of power.
The three, yeah.
It's a little bit like developing country vibes in the UK. It's if you ask all European bands, like the UK is like, UK.
Really?
The ferry over to the UK, and and I remember we were on the Sony headquarters with Leprous 3 years ago, like the headquarters of Sony in London, and the Wi-Fi connection there was just was super bad, and we didn't even have 4G there, so I don't even know how they managed to work there. I don't know if it's because it's so much high buildings, and but
I don't know.
Yeah, it's kind of it's very nice to come to London and see like the beautiful city and everything. But when we get back to the mainland, it's like, okay, finally we're back in the modern world again.
So strange. That's so weird that it's that way around.
You're used to it, so I can tell.
Yeah.
But,
hey, my internet's good. We're fine.
Yeah.
We're okay, I think. I really hope, I kind of, just for comedy purposes, I really want it to just cut now. Like,
that would be cool.
Huh?
Oh, no, sorry. I said, that would be pretty cool if that actually happened.
Yeah, well, why not? Bit of drama, yeah. So what's kind of, how would you describe it? Is Norway different? Is the music scene kind of different? Is it like a different vibe to over here in the UK?
Yeah, I would say so. Kind of rock and roll comes from the UK more or less. So I'll give you that.
Exactly, it's great.
I'll give you that. Yeah, we only have church burnings and black metal here. But it's not. Yeah, it's not the 90s anymore. In the 90s, it was like if you just said you were from Norway and you played black metal, you got a record deal, like that. But yeah, for sure. I think it's pretty different. But we have a lot of influential pop music these days. A lot of up and coming pop artists, and not really up and coming anymore. But we have like Kygo, Alan Walker, super big in the EDM world, and the Tropical House with Kygo, and we have like Sigrid, Aurora, super good artists from Norway. That is really, I believe both Kygo was the first one ever to reach 1 billion streams on Spotify, and I think Alan Walker, another Norwegian artist, he was the one that made it to 1 billion streams the quickest. Okay. We have some really big pop acts in more popular music scene. But then again, I get super proud when a metal band comes to Norway and does the biggest show there has ever been on Norwegian ground. Yeah. That's pretty awesome. So
like something when it comes to I got kind of one I have a kind of theory, because everyone typically in Britain, we're kind of like known as quite, it's interesting you say everyone was really friendly, because I think British people see themselves as quite like quite unwelcoming in some ways, like as a country. I don't know, I think there's a bit of a stereotype, I did one that's I think kind of correct. I feel like I don't feel like Britain's that welcoming necessarily, and I think it has a lot to do with the weather, because it's so like grey and rainy here. Like it's not that rainy all the time, but it's always like grey, or like, it's grey right now outside. You can't see. Whereas if you go to
very sunny here, at least very sunny.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, anyone that's just listening is missing out on loads of stuff in this podcast. But my theory is that if you go to like LA, it's like sun like all year round, and I feel like everyone in LA is just so horrifically positive, and I feel like because it's meant you get a lot less. Must get less sunlight even than here in the UK. Is that?
Yeah, I guess so. Like, I'm living in the more southern part of Norway, though. But we at the lowest, we have about 5-6 hours of light during the day in the winter. But in the summer, it's pretty. Yeah, it's way longer. I think until 10:30 p.m. the sun goes down, and sunrise is pretty early. But in the winter it's terrible. And in the north of Norway, you have daylight all day long in the summer, and it's absolutely no sun or light during the winter. So might be some of it, the reasons. But I don't know. In my opinion, people are people, really, and you will find all kinds of people everywhere, mostly. But of course, when you travel a lot, you see some tendencies of different cultural, aspects. But But again, you can find extremely friendly and unfriendly people everywhere.
Yeah.
So it's hard to pull a conclusion already until I've been in the UK for many days in a row. I guess I'm confused sometimes because it's only one day per country, often on tour. So you only see like backstages and airports, and then it's further on. No. But for sure, when it comes to audiences and stuff, Scandinavia and Germany is quite interactive crowd compared to, for instance, South America and Spain, Greece, and stuff like that. I was a little bit embarrassed yesterday on the Rammstein concert because I felt the crowd was so quiet. We were 60,000 people, and it was like before the encores and everything was almost no sound. But I know the fans enjoyed it. But yeah, I don't know. We're shy people over there. Everyone except me. So
well, maybe it's a benefit if everyone else is shy. You can stand out.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a tall poppy syndrome in Norway, though. But yeah, I don't know. It's also very cool to be against the tall poppy syndrome.
So you say because you say your friends say your English is bad, but like there's loads of English people who wouldn't know what tall poppy syndrome is.
Yeah, I was a little bit lucky there because Tall Poppy Syndrome is also the album name of one of the earlier Leprous records before I joined.
Okay.
So, but I was searching.
Had that.
Huh?
You could have just had that. I would have, I wouldn't have questioned it.
Oh yeah, fuck. Sorry. Yeah.
You can swear well in English, so.
I remember it for the next time I have some luck in the vocabulary.
Yeah. If you could live in any of the countries you've toured, say that magically they just start speaking the same language, where do you think you would move to? Oh,
from a language point of view, I would love to learn Spanish, because then you're kind of covered all over the world.
Oh, so sorry. I mean, if you could move to any country and they speak Norwegian.
Oh.
So they just magically, all of them learn, and you can communicate with everyone with no problem at all. Where do you think you go?
Oh, that's super difficult. I mean, every time people ask me where would I rather live than Norway, I'm so close with my Norwegian Viking way of living here, you know. So, but I mean, Brazil is a pretty cool country, isn't it?
Yeah. I've never been, but it sounds cool.
Yeah, and they speak Portuguese. That's pretty annoying every time I'm there. Even my Spanish, the few Spanish words I know doesn't get any far in Brazil. So, but that was super. Yeah, I'll just say Brazil without really knowing. Yeah.
I've never even been to South America, actually. So.
Oh, you should. It's the coolest country ever to tour, and so much spectacular nature and dedicated music fans, and that's my favorite tour so far ever was probably the Leprous tour in Latin America 2019.
Nice.
So much dedication and crazy crowd. So I think one of my best concert memories from being on stage was probably a 250 cap packed club in Bogota in Colombia. So it was such a good vibe there.
Isn't it? I swear they say, I might be thinking of Peru. I might think of Peru where they have like the highest altitude city or something like that.
Yeah, that might be. Unfortunately, we were only there for one day.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, super nice food as well in whole of South America.
Yeah, I'll bear in mind. I'll just fly over one day. You know.
Yeah. I'll get you a guest list for a Leprous show there.
What? Can you? If you get the plane ticket and I'll pay for the show.
I'll just have to look at the tour budget first.
Put it on the rider. Just put it on the tour. Like the promoter will get it. It's fine.
Yeah. And we'll get in touch when the tour gets announced.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly. I'm sensing you've got like quite a dry sense of humor now. From what you were saying about when you're joking about like burning churches and getting black metal bands in Norway. I'm starting to think you've got quite a dry sense of humor. I won't say unfortunate, but Norway is very small, and I played a lot with the different black metal guys and stuff. 2014, 2015. So I know, for instance, Gal very well. Super nice guy. Yeah.
But I mean, when you see his interviews from the 90s, Gal from Gorgoroth and stuff, it was kind of a image building to just sit there with a red wine, super cold, and the interviewer asks, "What's your inspiration?" and behind everything, Gorgoroth, and he just sits still for 10 seconds and he just says, "Satan." It's like no one believes in that, not even himself, I guess. Yes, it's kind of an image thing for sure. But black metal. I'm a super big fan of Dimmu Borgir though, but many people doesn't define them really as a black metal band anymore because they have so much other musical influences, symphonic orchestras and stuff like that. But I for sure have my guilty pleasures when I put on a Dimmu Borgir record or something like that. But I'm not really into the black metal scene, to be honest, other than I kind of know the guys playing in the different bands. And what is so cool is like every year we have this Inferno metal festival every Easter in Norway, a very, very famous black metal festival. And it's like so nice people. There's never any trouble with police or people not behaving, fighting when people get drunk. It's like the most musical, dedicated people ever on those festivals. So that's pretty cool. If you go to no matter whatever kind of mainstream music festival or anything, it's always some trouble, fighting or stuff like that, but not in the metal scene. So
yeah, that's true. I remember I saw Red Hot Chili Peppers a few years ago now, and the crowds were terrible because like there's obviously loads of people that weren't used to being in like a busy crowd, and people were like fainting and passing out at the front because it was all squashed up and they weren't used to just like being at a busy show, whereas if I go to a metal show, like yes, that still kind of happens, but people know that like
it's normally not a dangerous to be a part of a mosh pit, for instance. It's like So
I've taken some damage in mosh pits though, to be fair. I don't do it anymore, can't be bothered.
Oh,
when was the last mosh pit you were in?
I didn't really dare, probably when I was super young in a youth club or something like that. But
you got to be careful now, can't be damaging yourself.
But we almost, when Leprous was watching Meshuggah in Spain 2015 on a festival, we kind of ended up very close to a mosh pit. But I remember the bass player, he just had his elbow ready like this. He was just standing like this, like with the elbows in front of him. So people would hurt themselves if they got close.
Yeah, it's a smart decision. I mean, yeah, some of the people are saying to someone else, I've seen the furthest I've ever seen someone be thrown was a metal gig. There's my friend who was about like 6'5", just absolutely launched one guy who bumped into.
Oh.
I kind of felt for him, but he was really drunk, and as in the other guy was really drunk, and he was just like all over the place. It's like, get out of the way. But anyway, so I had a couple of questions about, and it's interesting to hear you talk about like black metal and the kind of I guess heavier like side of things, because your music with kind of Leprous, I think what I kind of put down in my neatly written down notes on my phone was that it has that kind of like metal kind of what's the word, like not feeling, but kind of like even in the calmer sections, you know, the more like groove based sections, it still has that like metal, I guess, intent and kind of mood, I guess, to the music. Like it's got, I don't quite know how to describe it.
It's very melancholic for sure, very melancholic, and but it depends a lot which album it is. I mean, when Leprous as a band name doesn't really represent the last albums, I would say, in terms of name and stuff. But this was like the two former members that Googled what band names that was available or something back then, 21 years ago, and Leprous, that sounds brutal, because then they were like Emperor fans, and more into extreme metal and stuff like that. But and then they went more and more prog metal, and then it has been less and less prog for the sake of prog, and extreme metal for the sake of extreme metal. But the music in itself, it's so difficult to kind of step out of your own inner box, go out of it and see it with fresh eyes and listen with fresh ears. But I guess we play something in between pop and metal.
I think that's pretty fair. Yeah. So the kind of, when I was when I'm doing some like looking around at sort of videos of you and stuff, loads of drummers have done, I don't know if you've seen these or not, I don't know how much you Google your own name, but loads of drummers have done like analysis videos of The Sky Is Red, your drum playthrough. Have you seen these?
Yeah, I've seen a couple. There was one that I got sent a few weeks ago that was just amazing, like how I don't know if you saw it, but he had used a scissor and paper and tried to visualize the whole way of thinking, so you didn't even need to understand how to read the sheet music or anything like that. That's pretty, I don't know if I get scared or if I get impressed, or definitely impressed for sure, but it's like, whoa, people really put in an effort to analyze this and try to explain it further. It's I gotta be honest and say it's an honor, of course, when people put so much into it and people are so dedicated about it. So
and do they ever? I think my question was, when you watch the analysis, or if you, I don't know if you've seen more than one, but do they ever get anything wrong?
Yeah, not really, but normally not really, but no, I won't say that when they deeply into it. But of course, I can hear, if I hear a lot of covers of it, people playing it, that okay, you probably didn't get exactly what kind of subdivision this should be or what it's based around and stuff. But not either me or the rest of the band really know exactly where on the grid we should place some of the strokes here and there on the outro, for instance, of The Sky Is Red. It's more like a feeling thing. So, but then again, people are doing so much analysis. Yeah, it's somehow a 30-second triplet note, but it can also be a 30-second da da da. And but to summarize your question, I think it's those analyzed videos is very spot on in general.
That's cool. It's good to see that people are getting it right, though. You know, like
Yeah.
do you find so you're talking about having the kind of hyperactive personality and stuff, when it comes to writing particularly for Leprous, do you ever, like, do the other guys in the band ever go like, okay, like, calm down, we need something else? Or are you quite good at, like, finding a balance between energy but also, like, holding back? You know, you're saying, like, if someone plays like a 6/8 blues, you're kind of like itching.
Yeah. I mean, we have pretty close contact through the whole recording process. And when it comes to The Sky's Red, for instance, it was more or less a song that Einar, the main songwriter and singer, wrote from beginning to the end. So like all the rhythmical main patterns of the intro and stuff is not for me to take any credit of, really. But the way everything gets played on the drums, for sure, on that song is something I've got a lot of artistic freedom to work around, and it's like a journey. One thing is to learn the pattern, and the next thing is to kind of live on top of it somehow. So no matter if it's a super complicated rhythmical pattern or something like that, you kind of want to make it sound super easy somehow, and take the ideas further, even though it's time consuming to learn and memorize all the patterns that the whole song is built around. But I try, when I compose my drum parts, to not always go for the first and best, which is normally in this genre. It's to kind of play unis with everything in the guitar and bass stuff, but see if you can make it all together sound bigger or better without doing the cliches, really.
Yeah.
Cliches. Yeah.
Cliche, yeah.
Yep.
I don't know what. Yeah, you had it. I don't know why I said it as well.
Yeah.
So sort of when you're thinking about writing, because you said it's not always like the first thing that comes to mind, because I know if you listen to like metalcore particularly, it's very much like there'll be, you know, guitar, bass, drums, or probably two guitars, and it's very much like they're on the same subdivisions and the same kind of, you know, it's often that obviously you want like a heavy riff, so the kick drum is following, you know, like the rhythm of the riff. How do you kind of go about like setting yourself? Do you think consciously and sort of proactively about how to be like different with your playing, or is it just something that just comes naturally when you sit down on a drum kit?
Oh, that's a good question. I would dare to say that it's mostly it comes natural. But I remember for sure when I started in Leprous the first time and we recorded the first album, they were used to a super creative and out of the box thinking drummer. One of my biggest inspirations for how my style is now, Tobias Ørnes Andersen, the previous Leprous drummer. So it kind of required, but still me and him is so different, even though we're both kind of a little bit out of the box from a typical metal drummer. But I think if it wasn't for him, I would have sounded way more similar than, what can I say, other drummers. Because the rest of the guys in Leprous was pretty early and to the point, telling me, you can do something more out of that, or you can do something less kind of standard metal proggy playing out of those patterns, or out of those riffs. So it's both, but now when I'm also used to I do a lot of sessions really where people ask me to lay down drums for them, and then I kind of know that they want this out of the box kind of playing, and so it happens more and more naturally that I just hear demo drums, for instance, for a song I get sent, and then I just think, what if I just do it like that? Okay, this riff could have been super heavy if the drums was playing way less, but then playing way less in a very what is the English word? Exaggerate. Just to exaggerate the way the drums hold back somehow. It's kind of hard to explain, but it could be could be like a riff that goes like you jump bum ba-dum, bum ba-dum, bum 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 ba-ga-gang-ga-dun-dun-dun. Yeah, that was first and worst riff I came to my mind. And if the drums is programmed to tug 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 tug, and it goes for that all the time, maybe I can just go boom boom tug tug get it ding 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 get the guitar. Yeah, or if that
you're doing drummer talk at me now.
yeah. Sorry about that, but
that's fine. I'm used to it.
To answer the question, thinking out of the box, but also not doing it for the sake of thinking out of the box. Sometimes you should just play and give the riff what it kind of deserves. It's not always about the drums having to do something extremely clever, intelligent, well thought through stuff all the time. So yeah. It's about knowing where to take space and where to not take space, and sometimes taking less space makes the whole riff sound more huge. And yeah, so it's the ears that decide, really. It's just music. It should not be any rules or anything like that.
Yeah, I've been listening to a lot of Fit for an Autopsy lately.
Yeah,
like they have some quite like busy guitar riffs, and then drums just doing 4 on the floor, just like simple pattern, and it just works so well. Like it's almost frustrating because it's like you think, oh, I want to do more, but it's just like the best thing sometimes is just the simplest. I know as a guitar player I sometimes overplay, or I write a riff and it's like I like it because I'm really like busy and challenged and it's difficult, but then I play it to someone like what are you doing? Like I'm enjoying it, but no one else is. So it's a bit of a balancing act, isn't it? Because you want to, how do you kind of balance like fight?
No, as we say in Norwegian, it's all about not getting too excited, so you're enjoying too much smelling your own farts. That's how we say it in Norway.
For anyone that wants to know how to say that in Norwegian, how do you say that in Norwegian?
That is important to not enjoy too much to lukte sine egne fiser. That's to smell their own farts. Yeah. Excellent. That's typical when the musicians get too much into their own zone and they just enjoy a lot what they do, and they maybe have, for instance, like a 4 minutes guitar solo in between some songs, and the audience starts to get bored, but you're having the best time yourself. It's like you're getting lost in your own world somehow. So
yeah, that's also at shows, drum solos, yes or no?
Usually a no. But we have been joking a lot with it on a few Norwegian shows we did, actually, because some of the crowd, it happens from time to time, drum solo, that they shout that, especially if we have any technical problems or anything. Yeah. And then Einar, the frontman, jokes around, nobody really enjoys to listen to a drum solo. Stuff like that. And then he's sometimes just on the go says, okay, Baard, play a drum solo. And then I'm stuck with it, really. Yeah, but luckily it hasn't happened for too long. But of course it depends who's playing it. You have Mario Duplantier from Gojira. I would love it any day. You also have like the old Neil Peart solos from Rush. Rest in peace. Yeah. There's like a composition behind it somehow. I enjoy it a lot, for sure. Yeah. I'm not allowed to say something else. I'm a drummer myself. I made a career out of playing drum solos. So
yeah. I saw Black Sabbath a few years ago on their final tour.
Oh yeah, Tommy Clufetos on drums.
Yeah. Oh, he's a great drummer, but I could tell because obviously Ozzy and Tony Iommi and Geezer Butler, they're all quite old. So I think they get tired because he played like 5 or 6 drum solos, I think, like one after the other. And I could tell, I was like, I bet that they just need a rest, I think. Because
he only played one drum solo when I saw the End tour they had in 2016, really. But
I mean, it was one section, but he did like lots of solos, kind of one after the other.
Yeah,
one after the other. I could tell it was because obviously Ozzy is a bit tired.
Yeah. Then there's another reason there.
Yeah, makes sense. So yeah, no, it's nice to kind of chat about hopefully some different things and kind of vary it up a bit, try and make some conversation about, hopefully people can get a bit of a vibe of what you're like from behind not from behind the drum kit even. So yeah, is there I asked this to someone else the other day, but I'd be interested to hear your question, your answer. What would be something that people don't know about you that you'd like them to know, or that you'd like, what would be the perfect question for me to ask you that you've never had the opportunity to share?
Oh, that's so much. But I just Googled and stalked Rammstein a bit, and I just found out that they are very selective on what fans and stuff get to know about them. They're one of the few in the showbiz really that kind of holds back so much on what they even think about what they're doing. So that's pretty. But it's way too late. Of course, I won't say it's difficult to go down that road now in 2022 and build a career of being very mystic.
Yeah.
But you know what? I'm so bad at answering those questions. But yeah, maybe. A fun fact people don't really know is that I very often sleep for 16 to 17 hours.
16 to 17?
Yeah, today I slept 14, for instance. And that's because it's been a rough week, of course. But my personal top is like 20 hours in the tour bus.
And you don't wake up in that 20?
Yeah, I kind of wake up, but I still have my eyes closed and fell asleep after 30 minutes maximum again. So
that's crazy. That's you must be drinking a lot of coffee and then just crashing.
Oh no! If I drink coffee, I don't know how to sleep again. So, yeah, I love sleeping so much, and maybe that's why I can keep such a high amount of energy all the time. I don't know.
Maybe in another life you were like an animal that hibernated, like in a previous life,
Yeah.
Who knows?
Who knows? But
I'll go on.
No. Again, to answer your question, I don't really know. I think people should just ask, and we'll see if I dare to answer or not. But I'm not a very what can I say? A very typical straightforward man for sure. I think I could never have a job from 8 to 4.
Yeah. No, I'm trying to avoid that as much as I can. So maybe we can inspire people to not do that.
But sometimes I'm jealous for people having routines in their life, then they get to do more. And I haven't cooked my own food, for instance, for probably 2 months.
Really?
Or I actually made some tomato soup before I went to bed here 2 weeks ago. But that was, of course, boil in bag,
Yeah.
So then I felt, adult points.
Yeah.
I wish I did, but I don't think other people enjoy me cooking if they have to eat it because I suck.
Fair enough. I used to. It was a lot of trial and error for me, but I think I'm okay now. I think. I feel like a lot of musicians quite like cooking. I don't know why.
Probably because they're so artsy, but for some reason that kind of art didn't hit me. Yeah. But maybe I need to do an effort though.
Just focus on the drums. It's fine. We'll be fine. We'll survive. Have you, just quickly, lastly, before we finish up, have you heard Sleep Token?
Yes.
Because your drumming style is only since we were talking just now, actually. Thinking about it, I feel like you have quite a similar kind of style.
Oh, maybe, yeah.
I just hear that. I'm not a drummer, so maybe that's a really stupid comment.
No, that might be. It's always difficult to reflect my own playing in others, really, if I didn't hear, but I to be honest, I didn't think about it, and I haven't really listened a lot to Sleep Token before I recorded the last albums, really. So somehow you won't hear my playing for what's released now, for sure. I reflect too much in the drummers of Sleep Token's playing, but I think it's a super refreshing band to have in the. Yeah. Having the, what can I say, in all the festival roosters and everything, and we tried to make them join us on tour quite many times, but it just seemed like they won't. So if you ever interview some of those guys, please ask them to join us on tour.
A little tricky because they're anonymous, aren't they?
Yes, exactly. They have a little bit that Rammstein style somehow, or not that way, but they're very and I think it's super cool that. Yeah. Still some bands dare to do that in these days, because there's no doubt that many artists that are big now has done it because they are very good with social media, and social media is all about showing off what you do and who you are, and let people get a close connection with you.
Yeah.
So,
well, hopefully this conversation allows people to do that somewhat with you. Hopefully, it's kind of a nice step into your life, you know. But yeah, I best wrap things up. I need to go and teach a guitar lesson, actually.
Yeah, cool. I have to go to a birthday as well.
Exciting.
But thank you so much for good questions, and we'll see if it came at least something out of all my stupid answers.
Oh, for sure.
Norwegian English.
Yeah, no, it's great. So all I need now is I need you to ask a question to start the next podcast.
Okay.
So you can send the conversation in any direction you like.
Okay. So and do you or do you know who's the next guest? Who the next guest is? Or
yeah,
is
I'm not
that the whole
you,
thing? Oh, okay. Is it a musician or something like that? Or
it will be someone in the music industry. Yeah.
Okay. You can ask them if they would ever consider to copy my art on the wall, or if they think it's super silly.
I'll have to. I'm gonna have to like get a screenshot now of the art and show them.
You can do it right away with me smiling in between here.
This is new. I'll get the screenshot. I've got it. I will get it afterwards.
You got it? Yeah, you recorded it.
I'll show them, and you can check out next time. So there's one other thing. I need you to promote an artist that you want, that you think deserves some recognition and some love.
Okay, I think I'll go. I'll do it a little egoistic. So I will shout out with some of my close friends from a band called Fight the Fight. They will put out a new album. They're recording a new album now, which I think is very, very cool. They already dropped 2 albums, but the 3rd album they're coming with now is going to be next level in terms of songwriting and riffing, and it's just... they come from a kind of a metalcore, some kind of vibe, but now it's a little bit more proggy, but yet more rock and roll, super kind of modern, cool sound, but still true to the devil of rock and roll. So Fight the Fight, that's their name. I don't know if I want you all to check out what they already have, because the new album is going to be so much better. Good friends of mine, Norwegian band, working hard, trying to get it through to cut through this extremely difficult music scene. But check out Fight the Fight in about a half year. Awesome. When their next album is out. Yeah.
Thank you. And if you've got any last things you want to promote for yourself or a message for the world?
I play on that album I just promoted, to be honest, but I didn't dare to say it. So there you go.
That's cool. You're allowed. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you so much, too. And take care and have fun on a guitar lesson. Learn them to shred and sweep and tap.
Nah, I can't do that.
Okay.
Take care.